Hi, I'm BTU, and so things are happening on YouTube, and I have some concerns and some questions. And most of you, all 30 people who watched my video, you know me from the commentary community or from the beauty community, which, yeah, I know, not supposed to be there, right? so, um, but that's where you found me probably. So this morning I was watching another community that you may have heard me say before that I watch content from all across YouTube, not just one community. I know you see me in one community a lot, but so one of the communities I watch is kind of known in two phases or two genres because not everybody, but there's life after prison and recovery. And so this morning I was watching Jen Cutting, and she was very vague but had very good topic on YouTubers relapsing. And so then, people are guessing in the comments who she could be referring to or which content creator she might be talking about. And well, that sparked a whole nother, if you go down a rabbit hole. So there's a whole lot to this. And I'm not, I've never been addicted. So I can't speak from that and I don't want to speak from that. So eh, recovery, relapse, all that stuff is not my cup of tea, not something I'm experienced in that way. And so I really don't want to come across that way. Um, I was married to an addict for 20 years. So I do know the other side of it, but not this relapse type of, what they go through, what they might or might not consider. So with that, it kind of came back to Jessica Kent, and she's a pretty big YouTuber. She has a good following, million, I think, people. Um, she does TikTok now too. And I watch her for a really long time. And she's admitted to some relapse with alcohol, but then kind of considers that to not be a relapse because that's not her drug of choice. Um, but most recently, she has outed her boyfriend, fiance, Reese, for domestic abuse and his relapse. So the only reason I really even, and I don't feel comfortable talking about other people's addictions or relapsing, but they've made this content. They use this for their content and I watch their content. So it's not something I'm like digging into their house and finding out anything that shouldn't be found out and now it's public knowledge across YouTube, of course, because you know, you can't keep that kind of stuff. So she makes a lot of her living off of her YouTube content and off of her persona on YouTube. So that's kind of what my question is, should we be funding? Okay, rabbit hole off another shoot down the. I am all about people making money on YouTube. It is work. You can look at what I've done so far, and I've done a little short here and there. My husband helped me with the e-bike video. He does content on his channel, and it is work. I mean, to edit things and splice them together or to voiceovers or there's work involved. It's not simply like what I'm doing now. I push the record button and I'm just talking to you from my heart, from my, what I feel in this moment. But so I'm not against anyone making money off of YouTube. You should. If you're putting out the content and the doing the work, make your money. That is not anything I'm coming for. But then when you have an addiction, are we funding her addiction? If that's the case, if it's alleged that she's relapsed, are we funding someone's addiction? And that's where my pain in this comes from and my question of should we? Does it matter to us on the outside, the normal people looking in? I think we're all responsible for our own actions, but um so back to her story. So she has recently left her fiance, took her 2 children, purchased a new house, a new vehicle, I believe, because that's a whole other issue with the Reese thing. But she put his addiction on full blast, on or his relapse on full blast on her channel, and used it for content. And I mean, that was their life and that's their story to tell, so that's okay, I guess. And then now it's coming out that she's possibly relapsed in this new home with the 2 children, um, bringing people into the home that maybe shouldn't be around the children. So that's just a whole nother issue. So then we have Jen Cutting that's not saying who it is. So then I come across the narcotic savant, and he's got like the tea. So if you want, I'm going to try to list all these in my description of who I'm talking about, and you can just watch them for yourself, figure it out however you want to. Um, so he came with the tea this morning that Jessica moved in a woman by the name of Mindy. And Mindy is a recovering addict herself. There's a man supposedly there that's on parole and has his own addiction problems. But Mindy relapsed with Jessica in Jessica's home, and she's kind of telling the tea or putting the DMs out or the, you know, text messages. She's outing Jessica for her culpability in this situation, I guess. And so then now there's another woman discovering Nicole that was like the middleman of Mindy, and Mindy gave all this information to Nicole. Nicole put it out, so it's all just kind of coming to a bomb has went off in that community. And I'm gonna, like I said, put them all down there, and you can figure some are only on TikTok. It's go where you want to go, find out what you want to find out. That's your thing. But my real question is that is this content for? It's their story. It's what they've been doing their whole time on here, is telling what their past is or if they're having issues. And I'm not one to judge, because when mine went through any relapses or addiction issues, my ex-husband, during his treatment process, he was to stay away from everybody that would use. He had to change his whole lifestyle. Of course, it didn't always last, but I'm just saying this. And there was no drinking, smoking marijuana, not 420 friendly. That's one of Jessica's. She's a recovering with 420 friendly, so I guess you can still smoke while you're going through recovery. But the from my experience, they've always said stop everything. Sometimes even sexual activity. That there was, addiction's addiction, and just because you're addicted to one thing doesn't mean you can't switch that addiction to something else when you're not using the one that you want. So like for instance, mine would turn to sweets. Sweets was a big thing for him when he was in recovery, and it was another addiction to add to the mix. It wasn't, an illegal substance, but it was still an addiction. So I don't know. There's just a whole lot to it. There's so much going on. But is it should I be talking about it? Should Jessica be talking about it? Should Nicole be talking about it? Should Narcotic Savant be talking about it? Mindy's saying she was involved in it and did it, and it's kind of her story to tell if it happened. So I don't know. I'm just so confused over. My biggest thing though is it's if it is a relapse, as a viewer, are we harming her? Are we contributing to this problem? But then if you cut her off, what happens to her 2 children? And I'm an enabler. I will have to take that and take it all the way to the bank. It's kind of the reason I had to leave my ex-husband. I mean, there's a whole lot more to that story. There was abuse and physical abuse and financial, sexual, all of it. But to make things better, I was like, maybe you should do something to keep him out of this funk, or I don't know. So I'm not one to, I can't speak on, oh, to be in recovery, you should XYZ. So that's not it. But my biggest issue is what we should do as viewers. Is it supporting? Is it hurting? Is it helping to just stick around and support and say, get yourself together and we'll be here? Um, I don't know. Never really had to go through that myself, and so I just left after 20 years. A little slow learner, right? I mean, but I'm worried about her two kids. I'm worried about what they're saying is going on in the house with the two kids. I normally wouldn't bring children into it, but they're part of her content, and she's, that's something she's made very clear that it's part of her. That's who she is. So, but it's been brought up a lot in this recent allegations, and technically they're all allegations. Even against Reese, she put out a video showing some abuse, and I would consider that abuse, verbal lashing, um, instilling fear in her. Um, but is it the whole story? Was she using? Did he catch her? I mean, it's all speculation, but it's just, where do we go from here? How do we, as a viewer, what do I do? Do I stop? What if it's not true? What if it is true? I'm so conflicted. I was hoping maybe someone with more YouTube experience, more recovery experience, more relapse, whatever it is. And it's not about her in specifically. It is because that's who I watch, and it came to the forefront that this is possibly happening right now. But so that's just like with anybody, even the people that may know me from other things with the pig family. I won't. I'm not going to give that a view. I will listen through other means, but I won't support that in under any circumstances. It's not okay what's going on there. But what are we responsible for? The viewer. Well, do we have responsibility? Are we culpable for what we watch? I'm not talking about, like, how some people are talking about, oh, you were in the comment sections of this or that or the other, and that type of support. But I mean, just the view, is that, are we culpable if she's in addiction right now, and we watch what would be a fake video because she's not showing that aspect of it? Are we encouraging, supporting that activity? I would like to think not, but I don't know. So I've come to you to ask you on your opinion and what you think, not of her, of the situation, of who we support on YouTube and what we support and what our views mean to anyone, if they mean anything at all. You can say, I don't care. I mean, I'm open to that too. So whatever you have, let me know. Comment section's open. I appreciate you for watching. Like I said, I'm going to try to link the most content of, whether it's on TikTok or on YouTube, everything I've spoken on, at least how to get to their page, in the description. So it's not just me throwing out allegations or anything, and that's all they are allegations. So that's kind of where I'm torn right now, is that it sounds believable, but haven't we heard a lot of things that sound believable and fell into that trap too? So let me know. I appreciate y'all. If you stayed this long, thanks. Give me a like. I don't have very many, so I appreciate you if you're here. Thank you very much for watching.